Have you ever felt like your healing work needs healing? Like the way you have been trying to heal has turned healing into another struggle to overcome, another battleground. It's almost like you notice the pattern that you've been working on, right? Then you catch yourself slipping somewhere along the way. And immediately that voice appears and it says, you should know better by now. But hear me out. You do not need to fight yourself to change. You don't need to fight yourself to heal. Beautiful soul. Before we go deeper, you know the drill. Let's take a moment to arrive. Let's gather every part of our attention back into our body. Allow every part of you to come into the now. And if you're able, gently close your eyes. Take a slow deep in through your nose and gently exhale through your mouth. Allow your shoulders to soften. Relax your jaw. Notice whatever is supporting you right now. There is nowhere you need to go. Nothing you need to figure out. Nothing you need to fix. Simply allow every part of you to up. Now take one more gentle breath in and exhale. Feel the difference. And when you are ready, receive whatever resonates for you today. Okay. Now let's return to what I opened with. The bed. Because there is something many of us do the moment we begin to see ourselves more clearly, right? You're in that space of awareness. You start to notice the triggers, right? You begin to recognize the pattern. You see yourself slipping into an old reaction, and almost immediately, another voice appears. You should know better by now, right? Or, why are you still doing this? I thought I already healed this. That one. That one hits me all the time because I hear it, not I used to say it, but also would hear a lot of my clients say it. Like, I thought I already healed this. How's it back already, you know? And without realizing it, all of a sudden, the healing journey becomes this whole other battleground. And that was never the intent. We try to force ourselves into alignment. We we try to discipline fear into submission. We we try to push through whatever resists us. You know, we can recognize we're in a space of resistance and then we'll keep pushing against the resistance. But I want to offer you a different truth today. You do not. You do not need to fight yourself to change. No, no, no. Transformation does not require you to wage this war against yourself. Okay? Many of us have learned, we have learned to believe that being hard on ourselves is what produces growth. I mean, it's kind of the world we live in, right? It's what society has shown us. It's like we got to beat ourselves up for things to change, or we beat up on one another for things to change. But no, we start to learn that without self criticism, we are going to be stuck. But that is not the case because self rejection cannot create a trustworthy relationship with yourself. It doesn't fit. You cannot beat yourself up into or hate yourself into healing. That's like if two opposite things trying to fit in one space. It doesn't work that way. Parts of you that react, the part of you that instantly jumps into protection or shutting down or overthinking or people pleasing, that part of you that starts to avoid or retreat, that part of you did not appear without context, okay? It didn't not out of the blue skies. Once you understand that some of these responses may have developed as ways of helping you cope, protecting yourself, or it's a way to remain oriented through experiences you did not yet know how to meet differently. So that's what you did naturally. But force rarely helps those protective responses that you keep reaching for. It really helps it to soften. It doesn't make it go away. But being seen, seeing those aspects of yourself, feeling included, being met with gentleness, great. Meeting yourself with that, some compassion, that can create conditions for another response to become available. Not the same old, repetitive, reactive response. You see, many people believe healing means I got to get rid of all of those parts that aren't working, the fearful part. I got to take it out, remove it. If I can remove that protective part, if I can pull out the hesitant part of myself, that's healing. I've healed it. I removed it. No, healing is often not elimination of those parts. Healing is becoming increasingly capable of remaining in a relationship with those same parts. You know what I mean? You're not removing it, but you're getting into a relationship. You're not abandoning those parts of yourself. And you're not obeying them either. You're not fighting them, but you are staying with them. It's like you see them happening, but you're staying right with it. You're witness. It is the part of you that is being able to say to the part of you that is afraid, I'm not leaving you behind. We moving through this together. You know what I mean? And when you do that, something may begin to shift. This this is one way of truly witnessing. This is what that practice looks like. Witnessing is a capacity within the whole. When I say that, witnessing allows you to remain present in those moments where you are pulling on, see your protection or whatever that's happening. Remaining in those moments long enough to actually see the pattern clearly, to even consider what is it that the pattern is actually protecting, because there's more beneath there. You're not just coming up with these reactive responses or these coping strategies for no reason. So when you can witness, it allows you to even take responsibility for the impact of the situation, you know? And when you're able to take responsibility, because you're able to sit in it now long enough. So once you can sit in it, you can now, there's room for you to take responsibility for what is happening here. Because I'm here, I didn't abandon it, I'm here. And I can take responsibility for what's happening. And when you can take that responsibility, you can now, you have choices available to you. And you start to see them. All of a sudden, they start to come up because you've given room for that to come up. And you can choose what happens next, as opposed to being thrown into it or reacting and thinking you only have one choice. That's it. And you reacting that one way all the time. Witnessing does not mean you never change the pattern. Because I'm not saying just sit there and witness every time the pattern shows up, just witness it over and over again. No, it does not mean you allow every protective response to make the decision. It means you create enough space to respond with greater awareness instead of immediately turning against yourself. For some of us, self criticism, like I said, became a learned strategy for control, motivation, or protection, especially when gentler forms of support feel available at the time or either reliable. And that's why we did it. So the next time you catch yourself in the middle of an old pattern, we pause. Really pause and notice where the tension lives in your body. And instead of immediately criticizing yourself, offer that part of you, wherever you feel it, one sentence, maybe two. You tell that part of yourself, I see you. I recognize that you may be trying to protect me. then allow yourself to take one slow breath in and stay connected to yourself. Because in that moment, the invitation is not to never feel fear or never have that trigger affect you again, but it is to become increasingly able to remain connected to yourself when those moments appear. I can always remember how hard it was, it can sometimes still be, to witness all the things I sat and I did all this healing work and I recognized, okay, I identified whatever the pattern was. Let's say it was just being stubborn. That kind of is there. So I would recognize stubbornness. And a trigger moment comes and boom, I reach for it. I'm stubborn again. I'm just not doing what I need to do in that space. Instead, I choose stubbornness because it just works for me. But the more I kept witnessing myself choosing it, I've had a moment where I was able to say, okay, the outcome every time I chose stubbornness did not work. Bottom line, the outcome was always the same. It always created more friction with me and whoever was involved, but just with me by myself. And I had to, over time, recognize I'm choosing stubbornness. Then I started to look beneath why I kept choosing the stubbornness. What is it I'm fearful of? That is why I chose it. And each situation was probably something different. What I was fearing in the moment, and stubbornness just seemed to be a good cover up. So I used it. But each time when I paused long enough and I did this exercise of breathing and witnessing where I'm feeling it in my body and telling it, hey, I see you, you know, I'm with you. It changed a lot. It is not because my stubbornness was going to immediately disappear. And that's the same thing with whatever you're experiencing, whatever you identify, whether it's fear, whatever it is. It doesn't mean because I witnessed it, it disappeared immediately. It's a time. And it's because you are learning not to abandon yourself in its presence, whatever it is. Much of real change can why real change can be and gentler than we have thought to expect. You do not need to fight yourself to change. Beautiful. I want to leave you with one question today. Sit with it gently. You do not need to solve it. Just be willing to look. Okay? What part of you has been asking for support that you have been responding to with criticism instead? Your affirmation. I do not need to fight myself to go. The parts of me that protect are not my enemies. I can witness them honestly without internal war. I can listen without abandoning my responsibility. I am learning to forward, gent, one breath at a time. Beautiful soul, stay connected to yourself as life unfolds with much love, much light.